Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Ryan, and welcome to Speak Up, the podcast where we talk about real ways to improve your English without making it complicated. Let me ask you something. Have you ever learned a new word in English and thought, yes, I got it, but then, just a little later, it's completely gone from your mind? Yeah, that happens to so many of us. But today, we're going to fix that. We've got some super helpful tricks to help you memorize English words easily. And later in this episode, we'll share one memory hack that's so simple, but it actually works like magic. Stay with us.
Hi friends, I'm Priya, and I'm really excited you're here. Because today we're talking about something that almost every English learner struggles with, forgetting new words. You learn a word, maybe even use it once or twice, and then boom, it's gone. Don't worry though, we're going to show you how to stop that from happening. We'll walk through easy steps that you can use every day, and by the end of this episode, you'll know how to make new words stick in your brain. For real. And yes, Ryan's going to share that secret trick in a bit, and I promise you'll love it.
All right, now let's talk about why this really matters. I mean, why should we care so much about remembering new words in the first place? Well, think about it. When you have a strong vocabulary, everything gets easier. Your conversations flow better. You speak with more confidence. Even your writing becomes smoother. But when words keep slipping away, it slows everything down. You might pause too much or feel unsure during a presentation or meeting, and that just makes learning harder. Trust me, it's not just about memorizing words for fun. It's about building real skills that help you every single day.
Exactly, Ryan. And here's something interesting. Studies show that learners who remember at least 50 new English words a month actually improve twice as fast as others. That's not a huge number, just a little over one word per day. But it makes a big difference. Imagine if you could learn and keep those words without forgetting them. How fast your English would grow. That's why this topic is so important. When you understand the real benefits of vocabulary memory, you get more motivated to stick with it. And we're going to show you how to make it easier in just a bit.
That's so true. And you know what else? Forgetting words can actually feel kind of frustrating, right? Like, you knew the word yesterday, but today it's completely gone. It makes you feel like you're not making progress, even when you're working hard. That's the pain point for most learners. They're trying their best, but because the words don't stick, it feels like they're running in circles. But here's the good news. Once you understand why this happens and how to train your memory the right way, you start seeing real results. And the best part? It doesn't have to be difficult.
Yes! And today, we're not going to tell you to memorize long word lists or use boring methods. We're going to show you smart, simple ways to keep words in your mind longer and actually use them when you speak. And just a little hint. One of the best ways to do this is something you've probably never tried before. It's easy, it's fun, and it works really well for English learners of any level. So stay with us because after this next part, we're going to talk about the exact method that helps you remember English words almost automatically.
Let's break down something really powerful now. Spaced repetition. It might sound technical, but it's actually a simple idea. When you learn a new English word, don't review it every hour. Instead, review it after some space. Day 1, then day 3, day 7, and day 14. That's it. This small gap between reviews helps your brain remember better. When your brain has to work just a little to recall a word, it gets stronger at keeping it.
Right, and it's all about beating the natural forgetting curve. That curve is why we forget things so fast. If you learn a word today and never see it again, chances are you'll forget it within a week. But if you review it just before you forget, you train your brain to hold on to it. That's what spaced repetition does. It builds stronger memory step by step without stress.
You don't need anything fancy to start. Just use your phone's calendar. After you learn a word, create alerts for day 3, day 7, and day 14. Or write it on a page with dates to review. It takes just a minute, but it gives you a plan. And if you like using apps, there are great tools like Anki. It's free and does all the scheduling for you with something called SRS, which stands for Spaced Repetition System.
Anki is super useful if you're into tech. You just add the words, and the app reminds you when it's time to review. But if you're someone who enjoys pen and paper, that works too. The important part is not reviewing randomly. When you review a word at the right time, you build long-term memory. That's the real power of spaced repetition. It's not about reviewing more, it's about reviewing smarter.
We've all had that moment where we learn 10 new words and then forget most of them by the next day. That's not your fault. It's just how memory works when there's no system. Spaced repetition changes that. It turns short-term learning into long-term results. You don't need hours, just a few minutes of review, spaced out over time, and the words stay with you.
And once you make it part of your routine, it becomes really easy. You'll notice you're remembering more without struggling. Your vocabulary grows without the pressure. That's the kind of learning that feels good. Simple, steady, and effective. It's not magic. It's just good memory practice.
Now that we've understood how spaced repetition helps with memory, let's talk about something just as powerful: mnemonics and visualization. These are fun, creative ways to memorize words by using pictures or stories. One cool method is called the link method. Imagine you're learning 5 new words. Instead of trying to memorize each one by repeating them, just connect them into a small, silly story. The weirder, the better. Like, a cat is driving a bus, then eats a watermelon and flies to space. It's nonsense, but that's why you'll remember it.
Exactly. Our brains love unusual and funny things. Another great technique is keyword imagery. Let's say you want to remember the word melancholy and what it means sad. Think of a melon crying like a baby. It's silly, but now you've made a picture in your mind. That picture becomes a strong memory hook. The more personal or exaggerated the image is, the more likely you are to remember it. This works really well for long or tricky English words that are hard to keep in your memory.
And here's another one that sounds fancy but is super effective: the low-C method, also called the memory palace. Just imagine a place you know well, like your home. Now, place each word you want to learn in a different room. For example, in your living room, picture the word generous by imagining someone giving away gifts. In the kitchen, place the word chaotic by imagining flour and eggs flying everywhere. When you mentally walk through the house, those words come back to you.
It's like building a tour in your brain. And the best part, you're not just memorizing words, you're creating a story or a scene for each one. That's what helps it stick. When you close your eyes and walk through your memory palace, each word is sitting right where you left it. You don't need to force anything. The images guide you naturally. It might take a little practice at first, but once you get it, it becomes a super fun way to learn.
And you don't have to be an artist or have a great imagination to do this. Just think of simple, funny, or even weird pictures. Like if the word is abundant, you could imagine a giant bucket overflowing with apples. That's it. The visual makes the word easier to grab when you need it in conversation or writing. It's not about being perfect. It's about what sticks in your brain.
Totally agree. These methods don't take extra time. They actually save time because you won't keep forgetting the same words over and over. Once the word connects with an image or a place, it becomes part of your long-term memory. And that makes learning English feel more like a creative journey than just hard work. Try it for a few words today. You'll be surprised how well it works.
Now that we've explored mnemonic techniques and memory palaces, let's talk about something just as important: learning words through real-life context. You see, it's one thing to know a word, but using it naturally in a sentence, that's where the real progress happens. One great way to do this is called sentence mining. Just pick 5 English sentences every week from a newspaper, a TV show, or a novel, and save them. These should be real sentences with your target words. When you see how the word is used in a sentence, it sticks better.
Yes, and sentence mining isn't hard. If you're reading an article and see a new word like optimistic, highlight the sentence. She remained optimistic even after the bad news. That one line teaches you the meaning, tone, and context, all in one go. You're not just learning the word, you're learning how to use it in real life, how native speakers say it, and when. That's much better than just memorizing the word with a translation. Over time, these examples become part of your natural speech.
Another super effective method is writing mini stories. Let's say you've chosen 10 new words this week. Make up a short story using all of them. Even just 2 to 3 sentences is enough. For example, if your words are generous, late, and apology, your story could be, Ravi was late again. He brought flowers as an apology. His generous smile made everyone forgive him. That kind of quick writing makes the words stick, and you'll remember the emotions, the setting, and the words together.
Mini stories are also fun. You can create all kinds of situations, funny, serious, romantic, dramatic, and make the words come alive. The more personal you make it, the better it works. I often tell learners to write stories based on their own life, something that really happened. Let's say you had a tough day at work. Try using your vocabulary to describe it. When words are tied to real experiences, they become easier to remember and use later in conversation.
One more amazing trick is doing role-play dialogs. This is especially good if you're practicing with a friend. Just write a short 1-minute conversation between two people, like at a cafe or in a job interview, and each person uses 2 or 3 new words. For example, A, I'm feeling overwhelmed today. B, take a break. You've been so diligent lately. This way, you practice tone, rhythm, and real-life usage. Plus, it's fun, like acting.
And even if you don't have a partner, you can do both voices yourself. Just record it on your phone. When you create those little scenes and repeat them, you start using new vocabulary naturally, not just memorizing it. That's the goal, right? To feel confident when speaking. Context gives meaning to every word. When you learn vocabulary and context, it becomes part of your real English, not just something in your notebook.
Now that we know how to learn words in context, let's see how to test what we've learned. Because testing isn't just for school, it's actually one of the best ways to remember. This method is called active recall. Instead of looking at a list and rereading words, you try to pull the word out of your memory. One great tool is a simple flashcard, but here's the trick. Put only the word on the front, and on the back, add the definition or a picture. Don't use multiple choice. It makes it too easy. You want your brain to do the real work.
Right? Because when your brain has to search for the answer, that's when the real learning happens. You could use apps like Quizlet or even handmade cards. Whatever feels easy for you. Let's say the word is reluctant. On the back, draw a small image of someone holding back or write something like not willing to do something. Every time you test yourself, you strengthen that memory. This is the heart of the flashcard method. It's active, not passive.
Another powerful method is called the close test. It's just a fancy way of saying fill in the blank. You take a sentence and remove the target word. For example, she was how to speak in public, and the missing word is nervous. You can make your own or find closed tests online. It really pushes your brain to understand the word in its natural setting. It's not about just memorizing. It's about knowing how the word fits.
I love closed tests because they show whether you really understand a word or not. You can make a small worksheet with your 10 new words of the week and turn them into fill-in-the-blank sentences, or use apps that create them for you. And the best part? You're also reviewing sentence structure and grammar while doing this. Wow, it's like a 2-in-1 practice. This type of testing really sticks because you're not just copying, you're thinking.
Here's another fun way to make it even more powerful. Peer quizzes. If you're learning with a friend or in a group, swap flashcards or quiz each other using closed sentences. It turns into a game, and learning becomes more active and social. Plus, teaching or testing someone else forces you to recall the word clearly. You're not just memorizing, and you're explaining, and that takes your learning to the next level.
Exactly. When you quiz each other, you get different questions, different styles, and more chances to think. You can say things like, hey, use that word in a sentence, or what's the opposite of this word? It becomes interactive. And that's the key. The more actively you use your vocabulary, the more natural it feels in real life. These testing methods, flashcards, closed deletion, and peer quizzes, make sure that what you learn actually stays with you.
We've tested our memory. Now let's talk about making vocabulary learning more fun. Because let's be honest, if it feels like a chore, we won't stick with it. One of the best ways to keep going is using English learning apps. Two of my favorites are Quizlet and Anki. Quizlet has a cool learn mode that adjusts questions as you improve. It's super beginner-friendly. Anki, on the other hand, is for people who want to customize everything, from card design to timing. Both use spaced repetition, so you're still building strong memory while enjoying the process.
Yes. And if you're someone who gets bored easily, don't worry. There are so many vocabulary games you can play. Just 5 minutes a day can help. Try mobile puzzles like wordscapes, crossword apps, or even memory match games that focus on English words. These small daily habits make a big difference. They don't feel like studying, but they help you review words again and again. That's the magic of mixing fun with learning. You're relaxed, but still growing your vocabulary.
Another great idea is joining a word challenge. You've probably seen hashtags like number word challenge on Instagram or Facebook. Some people even do it in WhatsApp groups. The idea is simple. Learn one new word every day for 30 days and share it with a sentence. When you know others are watching or joining you, it creates social accountability. You feel more motivated because you're not doing it alone. It becomes a team goal, and that builds consistency.
Exactly. In fact, some of my students created their own vocabulary groups. Every morning, one person shares a word, its meaning, and a sentence. The rest reply with their own examples. It's quick, easy, and actually fun. Plus, when you see how others use the word, you get more context and confidence. Community learning isn't just about support. It's about learning together, and that makes it so much more powerful.
Finally, let's talk about something that keeps everything running: habit building. You can learn all the tricks and tools, but without daily action, they fade away. One simple habit is a word of the day ritual. Just pick one word every morning, say it out loud 5 times, and try to remember it throughout the day. It only takes a minute, but it keeps your brain alert. This tiny daily English practice starts to build up your vocabulary without pressure or stress.
Yes, and you can take it a step further with something I call micro-journaling. At night, before going to bed, write just 3 sentences using that day's word. It doesn't need to be perfect, just something that makes sense to you. Over time, you'll see that you're not just learning new words, you're using them. And that's what builds real fluency. It's a quiet but powerful retention routine that really works.
Another cool trick is using environmental cues. These are reminders placed around your daily life. For example, write your word of the day on a sticky note and put it on your mirror, or set a voice memo on your phone to repeat the word every few hours. You can even leave it as your lock screen message. These little nudges help the word stay fresh in your mind all day. That's how you make the word part of your real world, not just your study time.
And here's something that brings it all together, a weekly vocabulary check-in. At the end of each week, go through your words, your sentences, and see what stuck and what didn't. Which ones do you remember easily? Which ones faded? This gives you a chance to adjust your routine and focus more on your weak areas. It's like giving your brain a gentle tune-up, and it makes your daily English practice way more effective.
Wow, we've covered a lot today. From memory hacks and spaced repetition to fun games and daily habits. And remember, you don't need to do everything at once. Just start small, stay consistent, and enjoy the process.
Thanks for joining us on Speak Up. If you like this episode, follow us and share it with a friend who's learning English too. We'll be back next time with another super practical topic. Until then, keep learning, keep speaking, and keep growing.